theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive.
Hello, Suzy Wrong.
Hi, Warren. What kind of school kid were you back in the day?
Oh, a complete nerd. very quiet, very nerdy, and probably very insecure. They would be my three descriptions, how I would describe myself. What were you?
Well, I was head prefect at primary school.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to, when I got older, into middle school and high school, it was just a nightmare. I became really distracted by kind of social aspects of school life, and I just wasn't able to pay attention to academics. And it was a waste because I from my primary school results, clearly I had so much potential there, but it was all wasted. I was just so incredibly distracted. And I think part of that is also being a queer kid. You just have more on your plate. And I think you just have so much on your mind as you go into your teenage years. There's so much more that you have to deal with that other people don't have to.
As you said that, I just thought about the enormity of it all. I mean, our brains are preoccupied, aren't we? And we do so well just to even get through school, yet alone get the good marks and and move forward from there. I mean, I think queer people are phenomenal, honestly.
Yeah, there is a resilience. Like sometimes you meet people who haven't had the same sort of challenges, and you just think that, because things seem to have been easier, you kind of don't have those skills that queer people have. And when you meet queer people, you understand that there is a certain kind of strength that's probably unique to our experience. And it's not a nice thing to have to go through, but it's something that we can be grateful for.
And lately I've sort of I've been I suppose here I am making assumptions, but I know a few people who've never had any. They haven't had to hide themselves all their lives, and I've sometimes see a little bit of attitude coming through now, and I think I wonder if because you haven't had any adversity, whether that's impacted that. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I was questioning it because, I reckon it does make us more robust, and it does make us.
On the other hand, sometimes when queer people don't have empathy, that confuses me.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, we've spoken about that before. I want to talk to you about, after your review, about teachers too. I want to find out a bit about your teachers, Suzy, because we're talking about a show that's called English Teacher. It's on Disney Plus. If you've seen it, text in 0427 569 949. Love to know what you think about it. Suzy, give us your review.
Evan is a high school teacher in Austin, Texas, USA, and because it is the year 2024, he is able to be out at work as a gay man without any fuss at all, until a parent orders an investigation after hearing that Evan had kissed his boyfriend in the presence of students one day. It is the American South after all, and homophobia is still very much a part of queer life. But not to worry, English Teacher on Disney Plus is thankfully an extremely joyful and uplifting sitcom starring series creator and writer Brian Jordan Alvarez, who I remember very well from the Will and Grace reboot, playing Jack McFarlane's flight attendant boyfriend. Alvarez and the entire cast of English Teacher are extremely funny, each actor bringing their own charm and idiosyncrasy to a show that celebrates difference at a time when conservative forces are fighting aggressively to bring America back to the 1950s. There is a wonderful exuberance to each 20-minute episode of English Teacher, with bold jokes balanced with a sweet attitude. It's got a sense of camp irony that I love, but not subversive in a way that will prevent it from appealing to a large number of audiences. The show manages to make all its characters nice and likable without requiring any of them to be bland or predictable. It talks a bit about important things like gun control and people trying to ban the art of drag, but it is all done in a light-hearted way. Sitcoms are designed for a relaxing evening. Most of them tend to be overly sanitized, but English Teacher is just naughty enough to prevent you from falling asleep too early before you finish doing your dishes and brushing your teeth. Warren, can you imagine having an out gay teacher when you were a kid at school?
Oh, so no. Do you know what? I was thinking about it now. I don't know whether there were any out teachers at the time. They certainly didn't appear to be out. They weren't to us kids. I don't think in the 80s you could probably be an out teacher, I imagine. But I certainly had my suspicion about a few of them, but never confirmed, don't know. But I don't know, what were your teachers like, Suzy? Did you have good teachers?
I had good and bad teachers. I certainly didn't have anyone sort of connecting to me in a queer way. I think I was one of those kids that you could really tell was queer. Yet I don't feel like I had anyone sort of kind of giving me a sense that I was being looked after because of that. Some of the kind of older women, though, I remember when I was in primary school, some of the older women were a lot more generous in the sense that I had a sense that they understood that I was dealing with something that I didn't quite understand, that they knew about. Obviously, we didn't have the language, and certainly in Singapore, they would have been completely prevented from ever broaching those subjects. But sometimes, I think some of the nicer older ladies, I felt like they were a little bit more caring because they could see that I needed more care.
Isn't it interesting when you say that that you could tell that you were queer? It's interesting because I was labelled as being gay, and I didn't even know what the word meant. I wasn't even attracted to anyone at the time. I was too young. It was primary school, and they were like, "Warren's gay." What's that? I had no idea. I don't know what it was. I don't know if there was like a secret barcode or a microchip or something that they scanned when they went past. I don't know how they knew, but the bullies definitely figured it out straight away. It might have been because I had a few girlfriends and they were jealous.
Oh, that could be.
I don't know what it was.
Maybe they were jealous at how you were able to connect with the girls better.
Yeah, that could have been it, because I certainly could connect with the girls better. But in terms of teachers, I don't know. I had some good teachers. I had some nasty teachers too, Suzy. I'd love to go back. I reckon that'd be the best therapy, to go back. I'd love to get my grade 4 teacher, and I fantasize about this, and I should sit down with my psychologist and we could do this, some healing there. I'd love to go back, and I'd love to say, just wipe that disgusted look off your face when you look at me, because there's nothing wrong with me. I remember her because I had a friend who was male who I was close to. Like, we were best buddies, like just the best friends, and she didn't like it. She was like, go out and play with the other boys, and like she was disgusted. You could see, like a dog that was growling. The lips were turned up as she looked at us, and I'd love to go back and say, hey, you know what they did? That kind of made me feel like there was something wrong with me, and it stayed with me right through to adulthood. And you as a teacher, you're a custodian of these kids. You can't do that sort of stuff to kids.
That'd be interesting, because if you went back now as you are, you'll probably double their age.
No, I'd love to. Oh, the stuff that...
Yeah, you can certainly give them a really good telling off.
Oh, and I would. Absolutely, because it's not, they don't realize. I'm hoping that stuff doesn't go on today. This was the 80s, and I had some fabulous teachers. Teaching is a profession that I could not do, I must admit. It's not one that I could put my hand up for. I think they do an amazing job when they're good teachers. But from my experience, when there's bad teachers, they do a crap job, and they can really impact a kid's life. And they should be protecting kids and, being role models and looking after them. But certainly there were a few that didn't. I remember the teacher that giggled at the bullies that were laughing at me, giggled. I felt like I'd go back and say, were you really that insecure that you have to giggle with the bullies when this little overweight kid's being picked on? Honestly, teachers, I don't know.
I wonder how much of that continues, because in English teacher, you can see that the teachers are young, right? They're around the age of 30, so they're from a completely different generation. They grew up with queer people around them. There's nothing unusual or weird to them, except this for the system, it's sort of a new thing, because I think it's been so many decades, maybe you can say centuries, of just teachers being homophobic personally, or just the system being incredibly homophobic. But it's a new generation, and Evan's a gay man, and his support system at school, he has really good friends who are teachers with him, and they accept him. Like they never even question him. It was a really great scene at the end when they go to a really raunchy sort of gay bar to celebrate his birthday, and We've never seen this sort of thing on TV before, actually, and it was really good to see how this new generation of adults are able to just go to a gay bar, even if they are very slightly shocking things going on, they don't respond with the disdain that our generation is used to.
Absolutely. I feel for the teachers that had to hide. And I imagine in some maybe religious-based schools they still do, don't they, have to hide? I don't know.
I think they have the right. The religious schools still have the right, some places, to fire teachers if they found out that they were gay. I remember going to a club. So I think it was probably just a year after I finished high school. And then I went to a club in Singapore, and I saw one of the teachers there wearing like...
One of your teachers?
Yeah. Wearing the gayest outfit you can imagine, on a platform, dancing alone, like really, really smashed. And that was interesting for me to see, because I thought, oh yeah, that makes sense. This guy's gay. But when I saw him at school the year before, it didn't occur to me.
Isn't that funny? I haven't run into any of my teachers at all. I haven't run into any. I'd love to see some. I'd love to see the good ones and thank them. Wouldn't that be great? Would you like to go back to that lady, the woman who was a bit older and made you feel comfortable, and say thanks?
Yeah, that would have been nice, actually. Although it's such a long time ago. I'm talking about someone who taught me when I was, like 7 or 8 years old. It's really stayed with me. Pretty sure she's gone now. But I'm sure she's up there somewhere. I'm sure she can feel my gratitude.
And I'm sure, like there was an arts teacher, and she was like that with me. She sort of took me in and she said, you know what, Warren, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just different to the other guy. Like I said it, and I was like, oh, okay, thank you so much. But it felt so nurturing to have that said. But that was only one teacher, and I kind of feel like that's what teachers should be doing, isn't it? Looking out for those that don't fit in and have a hard time.
Did you get to the end of English Teacher?
No, I didn't get to the end of it. I got, I think I watched 6 of them, and then Lucas needed to go out for a wee.
There was a really funny scene where one of the students came up to Evan and said, "Sir, I got something to tell you." A very, very typical sort of cliche scene of someone trying to come out. And the response was really funny because it's a completely different time. And it was set up in a way that you thought, you thought you knew what was going to happen, but it didn't happen that way. So I recommend that you watch episodes 7 and 8. I found it a real laugh. I thought it was really charming. It wasn't sort of too challenging in any way, so it was a really easy watch, and I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it.
Suzy, before we let you go, Wei, thank you so much for your message. I can't read that out on air, but thank you so much for your message. Suzy, we're talking about English Teacher, which is on Disney Plus. The episodes, they're about 20 minutes, aren't they? So they're not long. So anyone can watch them. You can do your dishes in between episodes. You don't have to do them while watching the episodes, which is really good. Suzy, 2 questions for you. First one, what are we watching next week? And second one, what are we playing in terms of song?
Okay. Next week we're watching Fanatical, the catfishing of Tegan and Sara, also on Disney Plus. Follows a catfishing scheme that targeted fans of the indie rock band Tegan and Sara, exploring the dark side of fandom. Fanatical is your homework for when I see you next Tuesday. But now, the song we're playing is from English Teacher, a blast from the past, from the Flashdance movie. It's called Maniac.
Thanks, Suzy.
Bye.
Joy Drive